What would you do if the woman you loved looked you in the eye and told you she needed a break to find her soul, but she really just needed time to sleep with a pretentious artist on your dime? Most guys would scream. Some would beg. I didn't either. I packed her bags, kissed her forehead, and let her walk out the door. She thought she was going on a romantic getaway. She didn't know I was already finalizing the divorce before her car even left the driveway. Let's back up. I need you to understand how we got here because I didn't become this cold-hearted overnight. It took 7 years of love and 3 months of absolute hell to turn me into the guy I am today. My name is Rick. I'm a simple guy. I build things. I'm an architect, but I like getting my hands dirty. I like structure. I like knowing that if you put a beam here, the roof won't collapse. It's logical. My wife, Camila, she was the opposite. She was chaos, beautiful, colorful chaos. She was an aspiring painter, the kind of person who feels everything at 100% intensity. For years, I thought we were the perfect balance. I was the anchor, she was the sail. I paid the bills, managed the investments, and kept the fridge stocked. She brought the life, the parties, the art. I thought I was being a supportive husband. Turns out I was just being an ATM with a pulse. The shift happened about 6 months ago. Camila started acting restless. She stopped painting. She'd spent hours scrolling on her phone, sighing loudly, staring out the window like she was trapped in a prison. "Is everything okay?" I'd ask, usually while cleaning up the kitchen after dinner. "You wouldn't understand, Rick," she'd say, not even looking at me. "I feel stifled. My creativity is dying in this suburb. Everything is so gray." I looked around our living room. It wasn't gray, it was comfortable. It was the life we built. But to her, stability had become the enemy. Enter Julian. Julian wasn't a neighbor, he was a mentor. Camila met him at some gallery opening I couldn't attend because I was working late to pay for her studio rent. Julian was everything I wasn't. He was older, maybe 45. Long hair, always wore linen shirts, unbuttoned, one too many buttons. He didn't have a real job. He was a visionary. Camila started spending all her time at his workspace. "He gets me, Rick," she told me one night. Her eyes were shining in a way I hadn't seen in years. "He says my art is suffering because I'm living a domesticated life. He says I need to embrace the wild." I felt a knot in my stomach. "And what is embracing the wild exactly?" I asked. "It means breaking patterns," she snapped. "God, you're so rigid. This is exactly what Julian talks about. Art isn't a transaction, Rick. It's a feeling." See what she did there? She made me feel small. She made me feel like my concern was just me being controlling. I bit my tongue. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I trusted her. I was an idiot. The red flags started popping up everywhere, but I was colorblind. She put a passcode on her phone. She started taking long walks to clear her head at 10 p.m. She bought new underwear, expensive lace stuff that I never saw her wear. Then came the talk. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I had just come home from a grueling site visit. I was covered in dust, tired, just wanting a beer and a burger. Camila was sitting at the dining table. No food, just her hands folded on the table. "I need to go away," she said. I paused, dropping my keys on the counter. "Like a vacation? Sure, we can book something for next month. Cabo?" "No." She shook her head, looking at me with this mix of pity and annoyance. "Not a vacation, a retreat. Julian is organizing a creative immersion in the mountains. It's for serious artists only. It's 45 days, no distractions, no internet, just us and the art." "Us?" I asked. The room suddenly felt very cold. "The cohort, Rick, the group. But I can't be in contact with you. That's part of the process, total detachment from my old self." I stared at her. "You want to leave for a month and a half, go into the woods with this guy, and not talk to your husband. Camila, do you hear how crazy that sounds?" She stood up, slamming her hand on the table.
This is exactly why I need to go. You suffocate me. You don't care about my soul. You only care about owning me. If you loved me, you'd want me to heal. You'd want me to find myself. She started crying. Big, dramatic tears. And because I was a sucker, because I loved her, I caved. I thought, maybe she's right. Maybe I am too boring. Maybe if I let her go do this crazy hippie thing, she'll come back happy and we'll be okay. Okay, I said quietly. Go. Find yourself. She hugged me then, but it didn't feel warm. It felt like she was hugging a tree or a piece of furniture. Thank you, she whispered. You won't regret this. She left 2 days later. The moment the door clicked shut behind her, the house went silent. I stood there for a long time. I felt relieved. That was the first sign that our marriage was already dead. I didn't miss her. I missed the peace. But the detective work didn't start until the next morning. I was paying the bills online, and I noticed a withdrawal from our savings account. A big one. $5,000. The description was a transfer to a generic LLC name. I'm an architect. I know how to research companies. I looked up the LLC. It wasn't an art retreat. It was a holding company for a luxury Airbnb rental in the mountains. And it wasn't booked for a cohort of artists. It was one king suite. Romantic package included. Check-in was yesterday. One king suite. Romantic package. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the laptop. I just sat there feeling the blood drain out of my face. There was no group. There was no retreat. My wife had just used $5,000 of my hard-earned money to take her boyfriend on a honeymoon. I hung up the phone. I walked to the kitchen, opened a beer, and took a long sip. Then I walked over to the calendar on the fridge, where she had circled her return date with a heart. 45 days. She thought she had 45 days to play house with her bohemian lover. She thought I was sitting here pining for her, keeping her nest warm. She was wrong. She didn't have 45 days. She had 0. Because I wasn't going to be there when she got back, and neither was her stuff.
Operation Ghost Protocol. I finished my coffee. Then I grabbed another one. I sat in that kitchen for about an hour just staring at the silent house. You know what the funny thing about betrayal is? It doesn't hit you all at once. It comes in waves. The first wave is shock. The second is grief. But the third wave is pure, unadulterated rage. I looked at the text she had sent me right before she turned off her phone for her digital detox. Going off the grid now. I love you. Trust the process. Trust the process. That was rich. I stood up and smashed the empty beer can into the recycling bin. The sound echoed like a gunshot. That was it. The mourning period was over. It lasted exactly 60 minutes. Now it was time to go to work. I didn't sleep that night. I spent the entire night printing documents. Bank statements, the rental confirmation I had emailed to myself, phone records. I built a file thick enough to kill a cockroach with. At 8 a.m. sharp, I was sitting in the office of Vince Russo, that nastiest divorce attorney in the city. Vince is the kind of guy you hire when you don't want a mediation. You want a scorched earth policy. I slapped the file on his desk. She's been gone for 24 hours, I said, my voice gravelly from lack of sleep. She thinks she's coming back in 44 days to a husband who missed her. I want her to come back to a stranger. Vince flipped through the pages. He saw the withdrawal for the retreat. He saw the rental confirmation for the romantic suite. A slow, shark-like grin spread across his face. "Mr. Vance," he said, "we are going to have fun." We drafted the papers right there. Irreconcilable differences? Sure.
But we were also going after the assets. Since I bought the house before the marriage and kept the deed in my name, and since she had contributed exactly $0 to the mortgage in the last 3 years while pursuing her art, Vince assured me I was on solid ground. I walked out of that office lighter, but I wasn't done. I went home and started the purge. If you've never packed up a spouse's life while they are cheating on you, let me tell you, it's therapeutic. I didn't use boxes. Boxes are for people you respect. I used heavy-duty black contractor trash bags. I went into her studio, the spare room I had renovated for her. I took down the canvases. I took the expensive easel I bought her for her birthday. I took the paints into the bags. I went to the closet. The designer clothes bag. The shoes bag. That ridiculous collection of vintage hats you never wore bag. I wasn't careful. I didn't fold anything. I stuffed her life into plastic sacks like it was garbage, because that's how she treated our marriage, like garbage. By 6 p.m., the house looked different. It looked bigger, cleaner. I moved all 20 bags into the garage. I didn't want to see them. I didn't want to smell her perfume lingering in the hallway. Then I did the most satisfying thing of all. I called the locksmith. When the guy arrived, he looked at the pile of bags in the garage and then at me. He didn't ask questions. He just nodded. Changing mall boss. Every single one. As he drilled into the deadbolt, I felt a piece of my old self dying. The nice guy Rick was dead. The Rick who apologized for working too hard was dead. My phone buzzed. It was a notification from our joint credit card. Purchase $145. The Tipsy Winery. She was drinking wine with him on my dime while I was changing the locks on the house she thought she owned. I pulled up the banking app. I'd been keeping the joint card open just to track her location like a breadcrumb trail. But the wine was the last straw. I didn't want to track her anymore. I wanted to cut off the oxygen. I tapped Report Lost or Stolen. Card canceled. I smiled. Good luck paying for dinner tonight, Julian.
For the next 2 weeks, I lived like a monk. I went to work. I hit the gym until my muscles felt like they were on fire. And I went home to a silent, clean house. I didn't drink. I didn't wallow. I was training. I was training for the day she came back. About 3 weeks in, the cracks started to show. I got a text from an unknown number. It was Camila. Hey, my card isn't working. The bank says it's frozen. I'm using a borrowed phone. Call me ASAP. It's embarrassing. I looked at the message. It's embarrassing. You know what's embarrassing, Camila? Lying to your husband for 7 years? I didn't reply. I blocked the number. A few days later, another text from a different number. Rick, are you okay? I'm getting worried. I can't access the joint account. We need cash. Please answer. We. There was no we. There was me, and there was the parasite she was sleeping with. I realized then that Julian wasn't just a lover. He was a leech. He probably didn't have a dime to his name. They were living off my salary. The visionary couldn't even pay for his own romantic getaway. I felt a surge of disgust so strong I almost threw up, but I swallowed it down and turned it into fuel. I looked in the mirror that night. I had lost 10 pounds. My jawline was sharper. My eyes looked different. Colder, sure, but clearer. I was ready. I almost wished she would come back early. I was tired of waiting for the main event. And then, as if the universe was listening,
It happened. Day 32. I was in the driveway, washing my truck. It was a Saturday. The sun was shining. A taxi pulled up to the curb. It wasn't supposed to end for another 2 weeks, but there she was. Camila got out of the cab. She looked like a wreck. Her hair was frizzy. She was wearing the same clothes she left in as she was dragging her suitcase. No Julian in sight. She looked at the house. Then she looked at me. She tried to smile, but it was a weak, terrified thing. "Rick, baby, I came back early. The process, it was too intense. I missed you." I stopped scrubbing the truck. I didn't dry my hands. I just stood there, holding the sponge. Water dripping onto the pavement. The show was about to start, and I had the best seat in the house.
She stood there on the driveway, looking like a lost puppy. A lost puppy that had just spent $5,000 of my money to sleep with a middle-aged hippie. I forced my face to relax. I didn't frown. I didn't scowl. I put on the mask I used when a client asks for a stupid design change that defies the laws of physics. I put on the professional Rick mask. "Hey," I said, my voice steady. "You're back early." She dropped the handle of her suitcase and took a step toward me, arms open. She expected the hug. She expected the "welcome home, honey" embrace where I spin her around. I didn't move. I just kept scrubbing the same spot on the hood of my truck. She stopped, her arms falling awkwardly to her sides. She looked confused. "Good." "Rick," she said, her voice trembling a little. "Aren't you happy to see me? I told you I couldn't finish the retreat. It was too lonely without you." I squeezed the sponge. Dirty water ran down my wrist. "Lonely," I repeated, looking up at her. "Right, the isolation. Just you and the art, right? No distractions." "Exactly," she nodded, her eyes wide, thinking I was buying it. It was just me and a cabin, painting, trying to find myself. But I realized I don't want to find myself if you're not there. It was an Oscar-worthy performance, truly. If I didn't have the PDF of the hotel bill in my back pocket, I might have believed her. She looked exhausted. Maybe Julian had dumped her. Maybe the money ran out and the visionary decided he needed a new sponsor. "That's beautiful, Camila," I said, finally dropping the sponge into the bucket. I wiped my hands on a rag, taking my time. "So, you didn't talk to anyone for 30 days, just total silence." She bit her lip. "Barely, just the mentors, but it was strictly professional. Why are you acting so weird?" "I'm not acting weird," I said, leaning against the truck, crossing my arms. "I'm just listening to you lie." The air left the driveway. It was like a vacuum sealed around us. What? She whispered. "Rick, I'm exhausted. Can we just go inside? My key, I tried the front door before I came around back, and it got stuck. It wouldn't turn." "It didn't get stuck," I said calmly. "What do you mean?" "I mean, the key works fine for the old lock, but that lock is in a landfill somewhere. The new key, well, that's in my pocket." Her face went pale, the kind of pale that makes freckles look like dirt. "You changed the locks? Rick, are you crazy? This is my house!" "Is it?" I pushed off the truck and took a step toward her. She flinched. "Because the way I see it, you checked out of this house 32 days ago. You told me you needed to escape this suffocating life, so I did you a favor. I set you free." "You're being dramatic," she snapped, the old gaslighting Camila trying to claw her way back out. "I went on an art retreat. I tried to better myself, and you're punishing me because you're insecure." I laughed. It was a dark, dry sound. Insecure. No, insecure is hiding your phone. Insecure is needing validation from a broke,
guru named Julian. When I said his name, she physically recoiled. It was like I'd slapped her. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. "Oh, you surprised I know?" I asked, my voice dropping an octave. "Did you really think I was just sitting here watering the plants? I know about the romantic suite at the Timberline Lodge. I know about the $5,000. I know about the wine tasting. I know you weren't alone for a single second." "Rick, please," she started crying now, ugly, desperate tears. She reached for my hand. I pulled my hand away like she was contagious. "A mistake is forgetting to buy milk, Camila. A mistake is leaving the lights on. Booking a luxury honeymoon with another man using your husband's savings isn't a mistake. It's a choice, a deliberate, calculated choice." "I came back," she screamed, hysteria taking over. "I came back to you. He kicked me out. We fought, and I realized I love you." "He kicked you out," I corrected her, nodding slowly. "Ah, there it is. The money dried up, the cards got declined, so the visionary sent you packing, and I'm the backup plan, the safety net." I looked her dead in the eye. "I am not your safety net, Camila. I am the man who is divorcing you." She froze. "Divorce? You can't. We can fix this. We have history." "We had history," I corrected her. "Now you have luggage." I pulled the garage door opener from my pocket and pressed the button. The motor whirred to life, the heavy door slowly rolling up behind me. As the door rose, the pile of black trash bags was revealed. 20 of them, stacked like a wall of garbage. "What is that?" she asked, her voice trembling. "That," I pointed, "is your life, your clothes, your paintings, your shoes, your art. Everything you own is in those bags. You can take them and go." "Go where?" she wailed. "I have nowhere to go. My parents won't take me." "Maybe Julian has a couch," I said, as cold as ice. "Or maybe you can find a cohort to stay with. But you're not staying here. Not tonight, not ever again." She tried to run past me toward the door connecting the garage to the house. I stepped in her path. I didn't touch her. I knew better than to give her a bruise she could use in court. But I stood like a wall. I'm 6'2". She wasn't getting past me. "Move, Rick," she screamed, pounding on my chest with her little fists. "Let me in. It's my house." "It's in my name," I said, not even flinching as she hit me. "Bought 3 years before we met, and since you've been finding yourself instead of paying a mortgage, my lawyer says you're trespassing. I'd hate to call the cops on my future ex-wife Camila. Don't make me do it." She stopped hitting me. She looked at my face and saw nothing there. No love, no anger, just indifference. That hurt her more than the screaming. She slumped, defeated. She looked at the bags and then at the taxi that had already driven away. "How am I supposed to carry all this?" she whispered. I shrugged. "Figure it out. You're a strong, independent artist, remember?" I turned around, walked back into the garage, and hit the button to close the door. As the metal door rolled down, the last thing I saw was her sitting on the concrete driveway, surrounded by black plastic bags, sobbing into her hands. I went inside. I locked the door. And for the first time in months, the air in the house tasted sweet. But the war wasn't over. She wasn't just going to go away. I knew Camila. Desperation makes people dangerous. And I was right. The next morning, the real harassment began.
You know what happens when you tell a narcissist no? They don't reflect on their actions. They don't look in the mirror and think, wow, I really messed up. No. When a narcissist loses control of you, they try to control how other people see you.
I woke up the next morning expecting silence. Instead, I woke up to my phone buzzing so hard it was vibrating off the nightstand. I had 42 notifications, texts, missed calls, Instagram DMs. I picked up the phone, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. The first text was from Sarah, Camila's best friend. "You are a monster. I knew you were controlling, but kicking her out on the street? I hope you rot." The next one was from my own cousin. "Rick, man, is it true? Did you really throw her out because she spent too much on art supplies? That's low." I sat up, the adrenaline kicking in. Art supplies? Is that what she told them? I opened Facebook, and there it was. The essay. Camila had posted a long black and white photo of herself looking sad, sitting on a park bench, probably taken 5 minutes after I shut the garage door. The caption was a masterpiece of fiction. "Sometimes you have to walk away from toxicity. Last night I was thrown out of my own home because I dared to dream. I was punished for trying to be an artist. I was punished for not fitting into the perfect housewife box. I have nothing but the clothes on my back, but I have my dignity. Hashtag survivor. Hashtag financial abuse. Hashtag art is life." Financial abuse. That's the buzzword she went with. She didn't mention the Timberline Lodge. She didn't mention the $5,000 honeymoon. She didn't mention Julian. She painted me as the evil rich husband who cut off his poor starving artist wife because she bought a few paintbrushes. I felt the rage bubbling up again. Not because she lied, I expected that, but because people believed her. People I had known for 10 years were liking the post. "So brave, Camila. He never deserved you." I wanted to comment. I wanted to scream in all caps, "She cheated on me with a guy named Julian." But I stopped. My lawyer, Vince, had given me one piece of advice. Do not engage in the mud. If you wrestle a pig, you both get dirty, but the pig likes it. So I didn't comment. I didn't post a rant. I went nuclear in a different way. I compiled a folder. It contained 3 things. The invoice from the Timberline Lodge, highlighting romantic suite, 2 guests. A screenshot of the text she sent me saying she was going off the grid alone. And a time-stamped photo from the winery's Instagram page where Julian had tagged her, holding a glass of wine with the caption, "My Muse." I didn't post it publicly. That looks desperate. Instead, I sent it directly to the key players. I sent it to her parents. I sent it to Sarah, the best friend who called me a monster. And I sent it to my cousin. No text, no explanation, just the files. Then I made coffee and waited. It took exactly 12 minutes. My phone rang. It was Sarah. I answered on the first ring. "Hello, Sarah." "Rick," her voice was small. Gone was the righteous anger. Is this real?" I said, "Call a hotel. Ask for the reservation under Camila Vance. Or better yet, ask Camila why her art retreat had a king-sized bed in a hot tub package." Silence on the other end. "She told me she was sleeping in a yurt," she whispered. "She told me she was alone." I said she lied. "She's at your place, right?" "Yeah, she's sleeping on my couch." I said, "Ask her about Julian. And Sarah, don't ever text me again until you're ready to apologize." I hung up. 10 minutes later, her parents called. Her dad, a decent guy who always liked me, sounded broken. "Rick, son, please tell me this isn't true. I wish it wasn't, but I'm done funding her affairs. I'm sorry." By noon, the Facebook post was deleted. The flying monkeys, her friends who were attacking me, went silent. The narrative had collapsed. You can spin a story about a controlling husband, but you can't spin a receipt for a romantic getaway with another man. Camila tried to call me at 2 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. She wasn't screaming this time. She sounded panicked. "Rick, why did you send that to my parents? My dad is furious. He says he won't help me with a lawyer if this is true. You're ruining my life. Why are you doing this?" I listened to the message and deleted it. I wasn't ruining her life. I was just turning on the lights. If the room looked messy, that was her fault, not mine. The rest of the week was a blur of legal paperwork. Vince, my lawyer, was brutal. He filed the divorce petition citing adultery. In our state, that matters for alimony. Since I could prove she used marital funds to conduct the affair, we were going after her share of the assets to repay the marital estate. Essentially, she wasn't just going to lose me, she was going to walk away with nothing but her debt and her art. But Camila wasn't done. When the victim card didn't work and the anger card failed, she played the last card in the deck. The one I was actually afraid of. The mental health card. On Friday night, I got a call from the local police station. "Mr. Vance, this is Officer Miller. We're currently with your wife, she's here at the station. She claims she's afraid to go home because you threatened her. She's asking for a restraining order and emergency access to the residence." My blood ran cold. This was the nuclear option. If she got a restraining order, I would be kicked out of my own house. She could move back in, move Julian in, and I'd be the one living in a motel while paying the mortgage. I said I didn't threaten her, keeping my voice steady though my heart was hammering against my ribs. "Officer, I have cameras. I have a Ring doorbell and cameras in the garage. I can send you the footage of our last interaction. I never touched her. I never threatened her. Just asked you to leave." "Can you come down to the station, sir? We need to sort this out. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I grabbed my laptop with the footage. I grabbed the divorce file. I drove to the station knowing that this was it. If I lost this battle, I lost the house. I walked into the precinct. Camila was sitting on a bench in the lobby, wrapped in a blanket, shaking. She looked up when I walked in, and for a second I saw a flash of triumph in her eyes. She thought she had me. She thought the system would automatically side with the crying wife, but she didn't know I had the video. I walked up to the desk sergeant. "I'm Rick Vance. You have my wife." It was time to end this.
Caught in 4K. I walked up to the front desk. Officer Miller was a big guy, the kind who looks like he's seen every type of domestic dispute under the sun and is tired of them all. He looked at me, then looked at Camila, who was huddled in the corner, sobbing into a tissue. She looked small, fragile. If I didn't know her, I would have wanted to protect her too. That's her superpower. She weaponizes her fragility. "Mr. Vance," Officer Miller said, stepping out from behind the desk. He didn't offer a handshake. His hand was resting near his belt. "Your wife claims you threatened her life yesterday. She says you physically blocked her from entering her home and told her she would regret it if she came back. She also claims you shoved her." I felt the heat rise in my neck, but I kept my voice dead flat. "Officer, did she mention why I didn't let her in?" "It doesn't matter why, sir," Miller said, stepping closer. "You can't threaten a woman. You can't shove your wife." "I didn't shove her, and I didn't threaten her life. I told her she was trespassing." "He's lying!" Camila shrieked from the bench. She stood up, the blanket slipping off her shoulders. She was good. She was really, really good. For a second, I saw Miller's eyes harden. He was assessing me. 6'2", broad shoulders. I looked like I could hurt her. In the court of public opinion, I was already guilty. "I have a video," I said, cutting through her noise. Miller paused. "What?" "I have a Ring doorbell camera and a wide-angle security camera above the garage door.
It recorded the entire interaction, audio and video, high definition. I saw Camila's face drop. The tears stopped instantly. It was like someone flipped a switch. She had forgotten about the garage camera. I installed it 2 years ago after a string of package thefts. She never paid attention to things like security. "Let's see it," Miller said, gesturing to a table in the corner of the lobby. I opened the laptop. My hands were shaking slightly, not from fear, but from adrenaline. If this video didn't work, I was homeless. I pulled up the file, drivewaycam01.mp4. I hit play. On the screen, the scene played out in crisp 4K resolution. There was me washing the truck. There was Camila getting out of the taxi. We watched the conversation. You could hear the audio clearly. You could hear her admitting she came back early. You could hear me calmly telling her about the locksmith. You could hear me listing the facts about the affair. "I don't hear any death threats," Miller muttered, leaning in closer to the screen.
Then came the climax. The video showed me standing like a statue while she screamed. It showed her rushing at me. And then, clear as day, it showed her fists hitting me in the chest. Once, twice, 3 times. It showed me keeping my hands at my sides. It showed me walking away and closing the door. I paused the video. The silence in the police station lobby was deafening. Officer Miller stood up slowly. He turned around and looked at Camila. She wasn't crying anymore. She was looking at the floor, picking at her fingernails. "Mrs. Vance," Miller said. His voice completely different now. The sympathy was gone. It was replaced by the cold, hard tone of a cop who hates being played. "You stated in your report that he shoved you. You stated that he raised a fist to you. I felt threatened. His energy, it was violent." "His energy?" Miller scoffed. "Ma'am, on this video, I see you assaulting him. In this state, that's domestic battery. Technically, I could arrest you right now." Camila's head snapped up. "What? No, I'm the victim here. He stole my house." "Civil matter," barked Miller. "Who owns the house?" "I do," I said, sliding the deed I had brought with me across the table. "Sole owner, purchased 2018, before the marriage." Miller nodded. He handed the deed back to me. Then he turned to Camila. "Ma'am, I am not granting a restraining order based on this evidence. In fact, if you file a false police report, that is a crime. Do you want to proceed with your statement, or do you want to walk out of here?" Camila looked at me. There was pure venom in her eyes. The mask was fully off now. She hated me. She hated me because I had beaten her at her own game. "This isn't over, Rick," she hissed. "It is for tonight," I said. She grabbed her purse and stormed out of the station. She didn't look back. I packed up my laptop. I felt like I had just run a marathon. "Officer, I'd like a copy of tonight's incident report, specifically the part where you determined her accusations were unfounded." "I'll have it ready for you in 10 minutes, Miller said. He gave me a nod of respect. "Watch your back, Mr. Vance. She seems unstable." "I know. That's why I changed the locks." I drove home with the incident report in the passenger seat. That piece of paper was gold. In a divorce custody battle, or in this case, a battle for assets, proving that the spouse is willing to lie to the police to gain leverage is a kill shot. I got home, poured myself a bourbon, and sat in the dark living room. I had won the battle, but I felt heavy. I looked at the wedding photo on the mantle. The glass was dusty. I stood up, took the photo, and walked to the trash can. I didn't smash it. That would be too dramatic. I just dropped it. Clunk.
Goodbye, Camila. But the next morning, things got weird. I expected her to fight dirty in court. I expected her to try to get alimony. I didn't expect her to try to win me back. At 10 a.m., a delivery truck pulled up. Flowers. A massive bouquet of red roses. The card read, "I'm sorry I lost my mind. I'm scared. I love you. Can we just talk? Please?" See. I stared at the roses. She tried to jail me last night. Today she was sending me flowers. This wasn't just manipulation. This was a cycle of abuse, and she was trying to start the love-bombing phase. I picked up the vase of roses. I walked to the front door, opened it, and placed them on the porch. Then, I took a photo of them sitting there. I texted it to her. My text was simple. "They look great next to the divorce papers. My lawyer is serving you today." I hit send. 5 minutes later, my doorbell rang. It wasn't a delivery guy. It was Julian. The visionary was standing on my porch, and he didn't look happy.
I opened the door. I expected Julian to be taller. In the photos, the ones Camila hid on her phone, they looked like a giant, a rugged, artistic mountain man. In person, standing on my porch in the harsh light of a Tuesday morning, he looked like what he actually was. A 45-year-old unemployed man wearing a wrinkled linen shirt that cost more than his car. He smelled like clove cigarettes and desperation. "Can I help you?" I asked. I didn't step out. I filled the doorway. Julian cleared his throat. He tried to look intimidating, peering over his non-prescription glasses. "We need to talk, Rick," he said. His voice was deep, practiced, the kind of voice used to seduce bored housewives in art galleries. I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms. "I don't think we need to talk about anything, unless you're here to pick up her trash bags. They're still in the driveway. The garbage truck comes tomorrow, so you better hurry." He flinched. "This isn't a joke, man. You locked her out. She showed up at my studio last night a mess. She's hysterical." "Not my problem," I said. "It is your problem," he snapped, stepping closer. "She's your wife. You have a responsibility to her mental well-being. You can't just cut her off. She's fragile. She needs support." I stared at him for a second, trying to process the sheer audacity. "Let me get this straight," I said, my voice dangerously low. "You sleep with my wife. You take her on a $5,000 vacation using my money. You convince her to leave me to find her soul. And now that she's actually left, you're mad that I stopped paying the bills?" "It's not about the money," Julian scoffed, waving his hand dismissively. "It's about humanity. She's used to a certain stability. You pulling the rug out from under her is abusive. It's financial violence." I couldn't help it. I laughed. I laughed right in his face. "Financial violence? You want to know what financial violence is, Julian? It's spending 7 years building a life for someone, only to have them hand the credit card to a guy who calls himself a visionary but can't afford his own hotel room." His face turned red. "I am an artist. My capital is intellectual. Your capital is zero. And here's the reality check you need. You think Camila is a rich woman? You think she's going to get half of this?" I gestured to the house, the lawn, the truck.
He didn't say anything, but his eyes shifted. That was it. That was the tell. He didn't love her. He thought she was a payday. He thought she was coming with a divorce settlement. "Oh, wow," I smiled, shaking my head. "You didn't do your homework, did you? You thought you were stealing a trophy wife with a golden parachute?" I took a step forward. invading his personal space. Let me educate you. The house is in my name. Premarital asset. The savings, premarital and protected. The business, mine. Camila has $30,000 in credit card debt and a failed gallery that bleeds money. If she stays with you, she's not bringing a checkbook, Julian. She's bringing a bill. The color drained from his face. It was beautiful. I watched the love die in his eyes in real time. She said she owned the gallery building, he stammered. She rents it, I said. And guess who pays the rent? Me. Or rather, I did. I stopped the autopay this morning. Eviction notice should be arriving in 3 days? Julian looked like he was going to be sick. He looked at the house one last time, the house he probably imagined living in, and realized the doors were never opening for him. "You're a prick," he muttered. "I'm a pragmatist, and you're broke. Now get off my porch before I call the cops for trespassing. I'm getting really good at filing police reports." He didn't argue. He turned around and walked back to his car, a beat-up sedan that had seen better days. He slammed the door and drove off. I watched him go, and I knew exactly what was going to happen next. He was going back to his studio. He was going to look at Camila, who was probably crying on his couch, expecting him to be her savior, and he was going to see her differently. He wasn't going to see a muse anymore. He was going to see a liability. The rats were about to start eating each other. I went back inside and called Vince, my lawyer. "Vince, get the papers served today, wherever she is." "We found her. She's at a studio downtown. We're sending the process server now." "Perfect," I said. "And Vince, add a clause to the settlement offer." "What clause?" "She can keep the art. All of it. I don't want a single painting." I hung up. I thought I had a few days of peace before the next explosion. I was wrong. Because when a narcissist gets rejected by their affair partner, they don't move on. They boomerang. 2 hours later, my phone rang. It was Camila. But she wasn't screaming. She was whispering. "Rick," she sounded terrified. Julian, he just kicked me out. He threw my bag in the street. He said I lied to him about the money. Rick, please, I have nowhere to go. It's raining." I looked out the window. It was indeed pouring rain. A normal human being would feel sympathy. A husband would feel an urge to rescue her, but I wasn't her husband anymore. I was the defendant in a false police report she filed 24 hours ago. "Rick, please," she sobbed. "I'm cold. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. You were right about him. He's a monster. You're the only one who ever took care of me." I took a deep breath. I said softly, "You're right, Camila. I was the only one who took care of you." "Yes," she cried, hearing the softness in my voice. "Yes, you were. Can I come home? Please." I paused. I let the silence hang there for 10 seconds. "No," I said. And then I hung up. I turned off my phone. I went to the kitchen. I decided to make a steak. Medium rare. The silence in the house wasn't empty anymore. It was victorious.
The gold digger's last stand. The silence didn't last long. Silence never does when lawyers get involved. 2 weeks after Julian kicked her out into the rain, the paperwork officially started. Camila had found a lawyer. Not a good one. She couldn't afford a shark like Vince, but a scrappy, strip mall attorney who probably took her case on a contingency basis because she promised him a big payout from my bank account. The meeting was set for a Tuesday morning. Mediation. The goal was to settle assets without going to a full trial. I arrived 15 minutes early. I was wearing my best suit, charcoal gray, tailored. I looked like a CEO. I felt like a gladiator entering the arena. Vince was already there, shuffling papers. He looked up and grinned.
You ready to watch a train wreck? Born ready, I said. Camila arrived 10 minutes late. She looked different. She had tried to dress the part of the aggrieved wife. She was wearing a modest dress, no makeup, hair pulled back. She was playing the role of the innocent victim who had been bullied by her powerful husband. She didn't look at me. She sat down across the long mahogany table, staring at her hands. Her lawyer, a guy named Henderson, who had a stain on his tie, cleared his throat. My client is requesting spousal support in the amount of $4,000 a month for a period of 5 years. She is also claiming 50% equity in the marital home, citing that she contributed to the household maintenance and emotional support that allowed Mr. Vance to advance his career. I didn't react. I just took a sip of water. Vince didn't even look up from his notepad. Denied, he said, boredly. Next. Henderson blinked. Excuse me? You can't just say denied. This is a negotiation. Mrs. Vance sacrificed her own artistic career to support the household. She is accustomed to a standard of living. Vince slammed a thick binder onto the table. Thud. Standard of living? Vince asked, his voice sharp. Mr. Henderson, are you aware that your client emptied the joint savings account to fund a vacation with her lover, Mr. Julian Thorne, on dates coinciding with her abandonment of the marital home? Camila flinched. Henderson shuffled his papers. That was a misunderstanding. She was under duress. Duress? Vince laughed. He opened the binder. Here is a receipt for a couple's massage and a $300 bottle of champagne. Is that what duress looks like to you? Because to a judge, that looks like dissipation of marital assets. Vince slid a piece of paper across the table. Here is our counteroffer. Camila gets to keep her personal belongings, which are currently in storage because she refused to pick them up. She gets to keep her car, which Rick graciously paid off last year, and she gets $0 in alimony. In exchange, Rick will agree not to sue her for the $5,000 she stole from the savings account. Camila finally looked up. Her eyes were red. That's it? $0? Rick, I have nothing. I'm living in a studio apartment with 2 roommates. I can't pay rent. I looked at her. You should have thought about rent before you booked the Timberline Lodge, Camila. You were my wife, she screamed, dropping the act. I cooked for you. I cleaned that house. I deserve half. You didn't pay the mortgage, I said calmly. And regarding the cleaning, Mr. Henderson, please turn to tab 4. Vince flipped the binder. We have hired a forensic accountant. Vince lied smoothly. We hadn't, but the threat was enough. But we also have Rick's bank statements showing that he paid for a cleaning service bi-weekly for the last 3 years. So Camila wasn't cleaning. And based on the Uber Eats receipts in tab 5, she wasn't cooking much either. It was petty, it was brutal, and it was effective. Her lawyer looked at the documents. He looked at Camila, realizing she had lied to him about being the devoted housewife. Can we have a recess? Henderson asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. Take your time, Vince said, but the offer expires in 30 minutes. After that, we go to trial. And if we go to trial, we will subpoena Mr. Julian Thorne to testify about the affair. Does your client want that public record? Camila paled. She knew that if Julian was dragged into court, the little dignity she had left in the art community would be incinerated. They went into the hallway. I could hear them arguing through the door. Camila was crying. The lawyer was shouting in a hushed whisper. 10 minutes later, they came back in. Camila looked defeated, slumped shoulders. The fight had left her body. We accept the terms, Henderson mumbled, but we request a 30-day grace period for her to remove her name from the joint insurance. Granted, Vince said, pushing the settlement paper across the table. Sign here.
Camila picked up the pen. Her hand was shaking.
She looked at me one last time, searching for what? Mercy? Love?
Rick, she whispered, how can you be so cold? Don't you miss me at all? I looked at the woman who had tried to have me arrested, the woman who tried to smear my name. I miss who I thought you were, I said, but I don't miss you. She signed the paper. A tear dropped onto the page, smudging the ink near her signature. Done. Vince snatched the paper back before she could change her mind. Congratulations, Mr. Vance. You are a free man. I walked out of that office and the sunlight hit my face. It felt different. It felt cleaner. I got into my truck and checked my phone. I had one new notification. It was from the dating app I had downloaded the night before, just out of curiosity. You have a new match. I smiled. Camila was stuck in the past, fighting for scraps. I was already moving toward the future. But the universe has a funny sense of humor, because while I was moving up, Camila was about to hit rock bottom, and I would have a front row seat to the crash.
They see the best revenge is massive success. I used to think that was just a quote people put on Instagram. I didn't know it was a lifestyle. The first 3 months post-divorce were a blur of iron and concrete. I stopped drinking, I stopped eating garbage. Every ounce of anger I had, every time I remembered Julian's smug face or Camila's lies, I took it out on the bench press. My body changed. The dad bod I was developing during my marriage melted away. I dropped 20 pounds of stress weight and put on 10 pounds of muscle. I'm not saying I became a bodybuilder, but for the first time in years, when I looked in the mirror, I liked the guy looking back. But the real upgrade wasn't physical. It was financial. Without Camila's artistic expenses, her gallery rent, her supplies, her impulsive trips, her $12 organic juices, my bank account started to look ridiculous. I had so much extra cash at the end of the month, I didn't know what to do with it. So I reinvested in my business. I took on bigger clients. I hired an assistant. I was focused. When you don't come home to drama, you have a lot of energy to build an empire. And then there were the rumors. I didn't ask about her. I had blocked Camila on everything. But we lived in a mid-sized city. People talk. The first update came from Sarah. Yes, the same Sarah who called me a monster. I ran into her at a coffee shop downtown. I saw her try to duck behind a plant, but it was too late. "Hello, Sarah," I said, stepping into her path. She looked guilty. "Hey, Rick, you look great." "I feel great," I said. She hesitated, holding her latte like a shield. I wanted to apologize for what I said back then. I didn't know the whole story." "You didn't ask for the whole story," I corrected her. "But I accept your apology." I started to walk away, but she couldn't help herself. She had to spill the tea. "She's not doing well, Rick," Sarah whispered, leaning in. "Oh?" I paused. "Julian ghosted her completely. He moved to the coast with some 22-year-old heiress. Camila, she had to move out of my place. I couldn't keep supporting her." "Where is she now?" I asked, feeling a strange mix of pity and satisfaction. "She's sharing a basement apartment near the university with 3 students, and she had to get a job." "Good for her," I said. "What kind of job?" "She's working as a receptionist at a dental office, 9 to 5. She hates it. She says it's killing her creative soul." I almost laughed out loud. The woman who left me because my life was too routine and boring was now answering phones and scheduling root canals for minimum wage. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I said to Sarah, "I hope she finds inspiration in the fluoride." And I walked away. But the biggest sign that I had truly moved on wasn't hearing about Camila's downfall.
It was meeting Elena. I met Elena on a job site. She was a landscape architect, sharp, professional, no nonsense. And unlike Camila, she actually worked for a living. Our first date was simple: dinner at a steakhouse. When the check came, I reached for it out of habit. Elena put her hand over mine. She said, "Let's split it." I looked at her, confused. "You don't have to do that. I got it." She said, "I know you got it." She smiled. "But I work too. I pay my own way. I'm not looking for a sponsor, Rick. I'm looking for a partner." I almost proposed to her right there. It was such a contrast. Camila used to pout if I didn't buy her a gift every week. Elena was offended if I tried to pay for her drink. We took it slow. But for the first time in a decade, I felt respected. I wasn't an ATM. I wasn't a safety net. I was just a man. 6 months flew by. My life was peaceful. My business was booming. I had a woman who looked at me with genuine affection, not calculation. I thought I would never see Camila again. I thought she was just a ghost story I would tell my buddies over beers. But life loves a full circle moment, and mine happened in the most mundane place possible: the grocery store. It was a Friday evening. I was picking up ingredients for dinner. Elena was coming over. We were going to grill steaks and drink wine on the patio. I was in the wine aisle looking for a Cabernet, and there she was. She was standing in front of the sales section, looking at a cheap, screw-top bottle of rosé. She looked older, tired. The spark was gone. Her clothes were wrinkled, not in a bohemian way, but in a I gave up way. Her hair, usually perfectly dyed, had roots showing. She reached for the cheap bottle, checked the price tag, and sighed. Then she turned her head and saw me. Time stopped. I was holding a $60 bottle of Cabernet. I was wearing my gym clothes. Brand new, fitted. I looked healthy. I looked happy. She was holding a $7 bottle of sugar water. She looked defeated.
"Rick," she whispered. This was it.
I didn't run. I didn't hide. I stood my ground. "Hello, Camila," I said. My voice was calm, no shaking, no anger. Just a simple greeting to someone I used to know. She looked at me, scanning me from head to toe. She noticed the muscle. She noticed the lack of bags under my eyes. She noticed the expensive wine in my hand. Then she looked down at her own basket, a frozen dinner for one, and that sad bottle of rosé. The shame radiating off her was palpable. "You look incredible," she said, her voice cracking a little. "I've been taking care of myself," I replied. "How are you?" She hesitated. She wanted to lie. She wanted to tell me she was thriving, that her art was taking off, that Julian was a distant memory. But she couldn't. The evidence was right there in her basket. "I'm surviving. It's been hard, Rick. Really hard." She took a small step closer. The old Camila would have invaded my space, touched my arm, used her perfume to disarm me. But this Camila was hesitant. "I think about you a lot," she whispered. "I think about the house, the Sundays. I realized now I didn't know how good I had it." There it was, the validation I had craved 6 months ago, the apology, the admission that I was the prize. But standing there, hearing it, I felt nothing. It was like receiving a package you ordered 3 years ago. You don't want it anymore. You've moved houses. We had some good times, I acknowledged.
but that was a long time ago. "Is it?" she asked, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "It's only been 6 months, Rick. People make mistakes. People grow. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime. Catch up." She was testing the door. She wanted to see if the lock was still changed. Before I could answer, I heard footsteps behind me. "Babe, do we need charcoal? Or do we still have some from last weekend?" Elena walked up next to me. She looked radiant. She was wearing a simple sundress, confident, happy. She put her hand on my arm, a natural, possessive touch. She looked at Camila, then at me. She didn't know who Camila was. I hadn't spent much time talking about my ex. "I think we have enough charcoal," I said to Elena, smiling at her. "But grab a bag just in case." "Okay." She kissed my cheek. "I'll meet you at the register." She walked away, leaving a scent of vanilla and peace in the air. I turned back to Camila. The hope in her eyes was gone. It was replaced with a hollow, crushing realization. She saw Elena. She saw the upgrade. She saw that I wasn't just surviving without her. I was thriving. "She seems nice," she choked out. "She is," I said. "She's a partner." Camila nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. She gripped the handle of her basket so tight her knuckles turned white. "I really messed up, didn't I?" she whispered. I looked at her one last time. I didn't need to rub it in. I didn't need to be cruel. The universe had already done the work for me. "You chose your path, Camila," I said gently, "and I chose mine. I hope you find what you're looking for." I didn't wait for a response. I turned my cart around and walked toward the register, toward Elena, toward my life. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I knew exactly what was behind me, a past that no longer fit. As I walked out of the store, the automatic doors slid open and the fresh evening air hit my face. I loaded the groceries into my truck, got in, and started the engine. Elena put her hand on my knee. "Who was that?" she asked casually. "Just someone I used to know." I put the truck in drive and pulled away. I never saw Camila again. And for the first time in my life, I didn't wonder where she was going. I only cared about where I was headed. And the road ahead looked beautiful.